Hey folks, Colton Woods here for day number 3 or session number 3 on what you can be doing with your horses to develop their mark training. And so the first 2 days, the first day we had our horses tied up a little short against the wall to help them find the answer on the mark. Day 2 or session 2, we had them on about 7-8 foot of rope there to where they had a little more room to work around the mark. We could work on 180-degree turns. And today we're taking our horses off the mark. Your horses will not be tied today. So behind me, as you guys might be able to see, I've got the mark about 2 to 3 foot off the wall. And so this is going to let us work on 360-degree turns. That means us standing on the mark and our horses working around us in full circles and taking the mark. So you guys might notice that your horses might try, if you're at the same exact spot where you were working on your horse tied up, they might actually try to stop against the wall because that place was where they were allowed to be. Here's an opportunity for us to actually work with our horses and show them that it's actually the platform, the mark itself, that is actually the spot and not necessarily against the wall. It's all very normal for our horses. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to step back here and I'm going to step on the mark. So I'm taking the mark and I've got a lunge whip. You could use a carriage driving whip with your horses, but I would like to have something. I'm going to ask my horse to step 1 full circle around, and when he comes to, I'm going to take my whip up underneath his chin and step backwards and let him find the mark. So here, guys, our horses are going to be ground tight. So, you know, early on you might have to stay kind of close. I like to do this in an enclosed area, so if they do walk off, at least they're surrounded by a fence or a wall or something like that. But one of the things that I just did there was I took the whip up underneath his chin, which is supposed to help the outside shoulder be directed towards me, and I stepped back simultaneously, giving him a place to go. So I'm going to do this several more times for you guys to see, and of course it's on video so you can always re-watch it. But we want to start early on. I like to do 1 full circle and then let them take the marks and start at a walk. Then we'll go to a trot. The canter for the liberty work is a fair ways off. That takes the liberty stuff. Our circles, of course, are adjusted to how much work it is and how big your horse is, but walk trot is the very big foundation, and doing a lot of that, and then of course having your horses in some type of work to develop the muscles that are necessary for them to canter on such a small circle. So here, same principles, guys, as first day 2. You want to be able to step further and further away from your horses. You would like to actually be able to walk all the way around them, and whether you're rubbing on them or you're just kind of meandering around the arena, and them stay put the whole time. So now, like if he went to move there, if he just moved his hind end but his front feet stayed, no problem at all. If his front feet were to come off that mark, then I would apply pressure based on where he's standing. I try to think about our round pin work a lot, and if he stepped off and he took his front right foot, I might step just back here to help push that front right foot. So be cognizant, don't just apply random pressure to your horse. Put it in an area where they can properly respond to it and move away from it. So I'll walk back up here, and I like to take a hold of my lead rope. Get your lead rope in your hand situated before you back your horse off the mark. That way when you go to back them off the mark, they can go to work. Outside the mark is work, on the mark is rest. That's what really helps drive this point home and teach our horses. So I'll back him off the mark. I'll step up here. I'm going to send him to the right this time. Just keep him in a walk. Would like our horses. So there he thought about taking it, and then here, whip up underneath his chin. So there, he's kind of trying to figure out where it's at. So you guys, even there for a horse that's seen the mark a few times now, I'm not going to crucify him for the fact that he missed it. He went too wide over here. Maybe I could have helped him by elevating my hand with the whip to help his shoulders come a bit over, but he got a little wide, and you could tell that he was trying to figure out where it was with his feet. So stay calm through those moments and let them sort it out. So we'll let him just hang out there for a second. You can see that when they get on the marks too, he just let out a big sigh. They can blink really big. And there's even Wendy Murdoch's got those Surefoot pads, and those horses are standing on there. They're using all the proprioceptors in their feet, and you can find some similar effects in terms of the mark training because they're finding a place where they can relax. And so here he's licking and chewing. Well, let him just hang out. Let your horses experience that. Don't be so busy to take them on and off, on and off, on and off that they never get to relax. Ideally, I'd love to be able to get to this to where, he'd stand here for a long time and he's that solid on it. And then when I take him off, he wants to get right back on it. So we're giving them a place where they can really relax and they know they're feeling really safe and everything like that. So I'll lean down here. I just about did it and I caught myself. Don't just lean down necessarily and grab it off the ground because, anything happens. They're horses. Accidents do happen. And we'd hate for anybody to get pawed in the head, because you're leaning underneath the blind spot up underneath their chin. So just be cognizant, guys. It's all little things. So I'm going to back him off the mark. And here I'm going to ask him to trot. I'm going to ask him to go. He didn't have a good stick. See, he slowed down there against the wall. He's just there. Now step back. Now there's a couple good points there to talk about, guys. He tried to stop against the wall where we had him before in the first 2 sessions. That is completely normal. Your horses might do it from the walk, but they're just exploring where is that spot that I can relax. And I just added a little extra pressure when he tried to stop outside there because that wasn't the place. And then also you might want to go back and just kind of drag the mouse back and rewatch when I asked him to come on the mark. When I did, I took that whip underneath his chin and you notice that he was real quick to try to move. He yielded his shoulders back towards the wall and found the mark fairly quickly. Now with the what we're looking for is our horses become more and more sticky to the mark. So we want them to come in with some enthusiasm and some draw. We don't want them to be going around their circle and then just tiptoe up onto the mark. We want them to keep the same momentum out on the outside of the circle, and if anything, maybe speed up a little bit to take the mark because they really want to find that place of relaxation. So if you have a horse that is real kind of lethargic and they just kind of move around and they're real slow, and you might have to up it up to the trot. But I'm showing you guys the trot this early because this horse knows how to do it, and it'll give you guys an idea on what to work on. So when you guys first come off the wall in step 3, guys, come 2 to 3 feet off the wall, enough room for your horses to comfortably move between the mark and the wall to where they're not feeling like they might run you over. Give them enough room. Work on your walk and trot both ways. And then we'll even do a change of direction here. So I'll show you guys the change of direction. And what I'm going to do is that I'm going to ask him to do a circle because every time, I'm going to give him a chance here. He went to step off the mark, but I hadn't quite asked him. So if he went to step off the mark, then I'd put him back on the mark and we'd kind of have to reset. But he didn't quite step off all the way, so we'll keep going. And so every time now that we've gone to take the whip underneath his chin, he's got to come on the mark. Now it's going to be underneath his chin and go the other way, so your horse might get a little sticky in the shoulders and you might have to bump them or just help them find that they need to go the other way. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to send him to the right, and your horses might get sticky backing up. It's okay. Don't get too worried about it because they're wanting to stay on the mark. So here I'm going to keep him at the walk so you guys can see. I'm going to have him moving around me. And after he comes past the wall and he's got room, I'm going to make sure he's got room to make the change of direction. I'm going to take the whip underneath, and I'm actually going to, you can see he got a little stuck with his shoulders because he thought I might actually let him on the mark. And the idea though is that if we increase the workout here, it'll help the draw become that much greater to the mark itself. So then when he gets over and he has room, I'm going to take the whip underneath, step back, and let him take. That's okay. That was just angles. He stepped on the side of the mark. Guys, don't worry about it. It's going to happen to just about everybody that takes their horse through this training process. And so there, I'd leave him on. Usually I like to say, okay, we did that many circles, that was more work than we've done in the past, then I try to leave him on that much longer to develop that draw. So that's day number 3, or session number 3, if you will, with your horses on the mark training. Again, guys, if you have questions, be sure to let us know. We're always glad to help you guys, and stay tuned for session 4.